Okay, so I'm going to go over what you need to do the package's lost letter, right? So there's actually several problems, but we're for this week only going to do one of them, but I have a specific way I want you to do it. So what I'll do is cover how you want, what you need to do, and how what I'm asking you to do is a little different than what CS50 is wanting, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and scroll to here. So what you're going to first do, now that you've done your attendance and gotten to know the database a little bit, is you're going to write a static and then a nested. So first we start with writing the static query to solve the problem. So I'm a clerk. I live, so this is actually somebody walking up. So I'll actually stop here and go look at the data. This is the link on CS50 site. I like this because it gives us the ERD. So drivers make scans, right? So a scan has a relationship to driver. Many scans, but one driver has many scans. So driver makes scans. In this case, and then we have scan of package. So we have a scan of the package. And then we have a to and a from address, okay? And then the scans are at a particular address. So the packages, because they're picked up and dropped off, then we have packages from and packages to addresses, okay? And then we have scans at those addresses. So you can look at, and that's why I wanted you to output that file to give that some time to kind of absorb or at least look at what's in there. Okay, now here this gives you, the schema, maybe a little easier to read, not a bad thing to look at that, right? Now the specifications for what CS50 wants is not what I want, so don't worry about that part of it. You're not going to answer the questions in here. Ultimately though, here's what you are going to do. You are going to write a static, like I said before, and a query, static and a nested query for the lost letter. Now you first write it as a static, then you'll write it as a subquery, okay, or a nested subquery. Right, so you are the clerk. You're setting, and the customer walks in. I live at this address. Okay, not long ago I sent out a special letter. It's meant for my friend Barsha. She started a new chapter in her life at. This is key. This address that they gave you, and I'm giving you some hints here, right? Is a little bit tricky. So what do we do if we're not sure of the exact address? That's your hint. Okay, the letter is a congratulatory note, a cheery little paper hug from me to celebrate the big move of hers. Can you check to see if it's on her way to her yet? Okay, so that's the problem you're going to solve. And you got some good hints in here. You want to break down the problem, think about it, give it some time. So now let's move back to what I want, right? So now, unlike CS50, and I just provided that same content here, unlike CS50's example of what they want you to answer, for me, what I want you to write is in this case, first your static query that answers what time was the package picked up and dropped off, including timestamps and related action, okay? So ultimately your query will output this content if it is written correctly. Okay, remember, and by the way, this is also for both the first static, right? First the static and then the nested. I'm just giving you that here. Okay, so now write it, right? So now in your packages folder, create a new query file called loss.q. Copy the previous one we did for attendance, update the POW proof of work to be POW-lost, and update the bash reference, okay? Now, your proof of work here is really important, okay? In your README file, do a heading 2 for static queries for lost letter proof of effort, okay? So your proof of effort, and your proof of work is important, and you can see in the grading where this happens as far as points go. Then write the static queries, meaning one at a time, to solve the problems. There should at least be 4 queries here, okay? And then after each query complete, because you're going to write, there's going to be 4 separate queries, right? Because you write the query if you want to refer back to what we learned how to write it, but you're writing a query to answer the first part. That returns a value then used in the next query. This is what static queries are. Okay, so after each query, again, I've told you how many at least. You could probably do this multiple ways, so you might have a few more, but I don't think you should have less. Okay, so after you complete each query, you get output, then give me your proof of effort, meaning show me what attempts you made to get at that query, your proof of work, how did it work, and your get workflow, and then you'll write, oh yeah, so this should be lost letter static query, and it should be 1 here. I realized earlier I had removed the 1, and now I remember why I had it in there, because then the next one will be 2, 3, 4, right? And that, so we should see in this case 4 commits, but all the work should be in there. So then once you have it, right? And by the way, I did have, just heads up, last semester I had a student think this query was not, that there was some problem with the data, and there's not. This query is answerable by the packages database. Also, heads up, ChatGPT may not give you the right answer here. I don't recommend it because you're learning how to write queries and problem solve here, but I suspect there'll be at least a couple of you that may just immediately go out and try it. Again, I don't recommend it, but I'm just going to give you a heads up that it's not, it may not give you the kind of results you want. And again, what I grade is on your, you'll see the points in a minute. So if at this point, you can take a break, all right? You can take a break and ask me to review your work. I'd be happy to do that, and then complete before. If you want another review, you got to do that before Thursday morning, but again, they're due the next day. So now write a nested query, okay? So now do a new heading 2, a nested query for a proof of work, for lost letter, proof of work, and then write the nested query. Oh, actually, it shouldn't be one at a time. I'll fix that, right? To solve the lost letter, and should only be 1 query, okay? Same output as the static query. And in this case, once you get it, right, and this is where your proof of effort really becomes very important. This one, I definitely should see several attempts at this one. You know, this is not necessarily an easy one, right? All right, so then once you get there, right, make sure you have your proof of work, your POE, POW, and your get workflows. And in this case, you only have 1 commit once you're done, but that's why what will be important, as I've said before, is that POE file. So then write in your README file, add my experience, and write a paragraph about doing this work. All right, so to submit, you give me your packages commit history, and then here's how I will grade. So to show your proof of work, that's worth 30 points. All the commits required here, and then did you get the correct output for both of these? All right. And then I will go over these probably in week. Yeah, actually, we'll go over these, and we'll probably end up writing a join query for them as well. But I'll probably go over them in week 9. Okay. All right. So this is how you want to do this one. Reach out for help if you want to discuss. I'd be happy to do that, and I look forward to seeing your attempt and solution to this one.